Honored guests, parents and friends, and members of the graduating Deerfield class of 2020 from Wendell. You can drive to your favorite restaurant in your hot new car. You can vacation in Europe or the Caribbean. Or you can drink or take drugs in your attempts to escape the worries and responsibilities of life. But you must never shirk your responsibility to your fellow human beings. You and I, by the very fact that we are humans, owe our brothers and sisters any aid they need or request when and wherever we can possibly give it. It's a big job. It's not an easy one, but it's a job that has to be done, and done now, or we'll never make it as a species. It takes pain and sacrifice. It takes the sacrifice John Kennedy spoke of when he asked, "Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country." It takes the patience of Martin Luther King, who said, "I have a dream," and didn't live to see it. It takes the disposition of Gandhi. It takes the courage of Che Guevara, who wrote a few hours before his death, "Even as I write, knowing that death is coming over the hill not 500 yards away, I would not go back to being a respected professional in a system that I detested." It takes all this and more. It takes the love and help of God. First, however, we need a change in our personal values. We must put hunger before new cars, disease before color televisions, and peace before landing on Mars. Since recorded time, this world has only seen 263 years of peace. Human nature? No. It is inhuman greed, lust, and hatred that have nipped peace in the bud. And you and I and too many have carried on with business as usual, ignoring famine, disease, and oppression. There's a piece of philosophy which states, "Whoever watches a crime in silence commits it." What do those members of the so-called silent majority have to say to that? Okay, you ask, what can I do? Well, right now, turn to somebody nearby and just say hello and let them really see you. Now, if we could meet everybody with that kind of openness, we'd be far better people. There are two types of inhumanity we must deal with. The first is the person who is unaware of the real problems and their causes. They are asleep while the house burns down around them, and they blame the heat on their blankets. This person is simply not cognizant of the real problems that beset our society. Theirs is a world of beer, TV, their favorite sports teams. In-depth reports and socio-political literature bore them. They blame our problems on whatever group is convenient: blacks, politicians, welfare, intellectuals, students, or lack of law and order. They just can't see that the problem lies in the very fabric of the society that we've created. They're not part of the solution. Therefore, they're part of the problem. The second type is the aware person who procrastinates. They will say, well, I'll start doing something as soon as I get that new car. Or, I know we've got to stop the military-industrial complex now, but let me finish school first. This person puts off until tomorrow what has to be done today. They will sit in their carpeted bedroom with their $5,000 stereo going and listen to their favorite album and say, yeah, right on, we need a revolution. Yeah, while they purge their little liberal hearts by wishing things were better. The solution for this? Education. But not the kind of education you get in history or math or English or urban studies class. You need the education of experience. Try living in an inner city for a while. Go to the border, or stop and talk to a child on a street corner. Children can tell you a lot. Their language may be obscenely atrocious. Their face could be wide-eyed and strangely sad. Their body thin and fragile. Hopes are infinite, but the real opportunities may be almost nil. I don't have a ready-made solution to hand you. I could talk for 5 hours about the ills that beset our society, the ill that is our society, but I can't give you a cut and dried answer. That answer is only found within yourself. You must search for it as you would for a lost child. But don't take too long. That child needs your help. Don't ever lose sight of your goals or your faith in yourself, your hope for a better world for all people. Che Guevara put it nicely. He said, "Of course you're cynical. Your universities teach you to be eternal cynics, a cynicism that can only be drowned in alcohol, diet pills, psychoanalysis, and golf. You must vomit forth your cynicism into the streets of your cities. So never give up. Dare to struggle. Dare to win. Lastly, remain sensitive to those around you. Martin Buber talks about I and it and I and thou relationships. As human beings, we are individual godlike entities and should be treated as such, not as commodities on capitalism's market block. Maintain an I and thou relationship with everyone that you have contact with. We are, after all, extensions of each other and extensions of the Divine One. And finally, judge your day not by how much you've done for yourself, but by how much you've done for others. Can you do it? I'm sure you can. Have a great future. We'll be rooting for you. All of us.